Welcome back to Switch to Linux. Well, today we're going to talk about this curious little poll. Did you know that Facebook users still don't know that Facebook sells data? Huh? I would figure everyone knows this by now, but there has been a Pew Research article that came out this week that really went through a lot of in-depth surveys, and we are going to have a look at this with the panel discussion. And of course, I need to turn off my... turn that off and unmute these guys. All right, how's everybody doing today?
Hi.
Hi.
Doing good.
Doing fine.
All right. All right, so another quick disclaimer as we start is I am recording this. I switched from Chromium over to Firefox because I was having some performance issues with Chromium. So if we get anything unexpected throughout this, then that's probably why. We'll be back in a moment if that occurs. So anyway, we have Ben, we have Benjamin, we have Brian, we have Dan, and we have Quint. So let's go ahead and start out and see who is in the comments. Frost Ranger of the Frozen Realm, Joseph Adler, the Drifter. He cut his Facebook off, permanently deleted it. Very good. Yugo Master. Chad V. How's it going there, Chad? And Louis on. Hello, Linux user. Greetings. And Steve is on, asking some questions about RAID 0. I do not know if Debian 32-bit would boot with a RAID 0. I have no idea.
I'll be right back.
Kyrie Holmes, greetings. Let's see, Paul, how's it going there? What is Facebook? Yeah, it's this crazy place that some people choose to give their data to, and I just don't get it either, but we'll ask some questions about it, I guess. Thumbs up for the kitty. The kitty refound his favorite bed. He was avoiding that for a while. I think he threw up on it accidentally, and I cleaned it. And then he threw up on the chair, and I cleaned that. And then he hasn't been voted the chair, and then I flipped that around, and so now he's back to his bed in my office again. So Kitty's being cute. He's just roaming around different places. Facebook told my account was disabled. I lost so much media, and my friends couldn't find me anywhere. I found out they sold my account to third parties. I was done up to that. Oh, Lord. All right. Let's see. Let's see. This one is a supporter stream. I will eventually do an open chat again sometime. I don't do those a lot, but these ones are the supporters ones. So all these guys are the ones that help financially support the channel, and I deeply appreciate that. So let's go ahead and start out. Anyone want to have some initial things to say? Ben, start out. We'll kind of go in sequence here so we can stay in order. And sure. Ben and Benjamin. So Ben, go ahead.
What's shocking to me is, at least according to the article, 51% are not comfortable with Facebook compiling information on them. And what's shocking is that 51% must continue to use it.
It's kind of like if you've taken Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University. He says something like 75% of people are living paycheck to paycheck and only 30% of people are worried about it. It's like,
right.
What's wrong with the rest of you guys? All right, Benjamin, any thoughts initially?
Well, in one case, I'm surprised, but in another case, I'm not, because unfortunately, I do have Facebook because there's certain people that I have to stay in contact with, and the only way to do so is through Facebook. But I did notice that when I was in a relationship, I would get ads for dating sites, or when I wasn't, sorry, and when I'm in a relationship, all of a sudden those ads stop. And so I did notice that pattern a long time ago, and I says, wow, that's kind of creepy. They know that. They're noticing that change.
They know that you are sleeping. They know that you're awake. They know who you are dating. So be good for goodness sake. Brian, what do you think?
I didn't know what to say. I mean, I'm reading that article, and first of all, people that know it's collecting data, but a lot of people they give permission to collect the data. And a lot of people really don't know because, I talk a lot about this with, pretty much everybody I meet on a daily basis. And there's so many people, when I mention it to them, they're like, oh, so that's why whenever I look at a video or I look at something where, they're about a certain product, they start to get ads for that product. And they're like shocked. And then after I tell them about it, they're like, oh, so that's why.
Yeah.
I'm like, yep, that's why. And, you know, I'm just a little afraid because that data, if things go wrong or if it falls into the wrong hands, can be dangerous. I mean, it's a nuisance when they push it for ads, but ads are relatively benign. But, you know, if the culture or the society changes for the worse, that could be dangerous to people. So that's pretty much my fear.
Dan, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts is that these people use Facebook. They're probably forced into it due to the fact that they need to communicate with other people from long distance away. Like for me, I have a cousin that lives on the other end of the country, and it's a way that, you know, we communicate without actually having to pick up the phone and call each other, even though that sounds kind of strange.
Yeah, and I have a friend from high school that moved to France, and so he's over there in France, and so I sent him an email a couple weeks ago, and he's, you know, we've been emailing back and forth. He's like, you know, do you have WhatsApp? I'm like, no, I don't have WhatsApp. It's a Facebook company, and so I said, you know, if you want to chat, we can do Signal, or we can do either Signal or WhatsApp, or not Signal, Signal or Telegram, and. So he had no idea that WhatsApp was even owned by Facebook because he vehemently is opposed to Facebook and social media. It's just that
I kind of am too, but in my case, is the ads, I can put up with them up to a certain point. Like if they know I like an artist or something like that, and a record becomes available, and it comes up on the Facebook news feed, you know, then I know that that album came available and I can pursue purchasing it rather than have to keep checking if somebody released an album.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys all know I play vinyl records.
Benjamin, could you push the mute button on your Google Hangouts until you're going to chat?
Another thing is I don't use my personal data on Facebook. I may use my name only, but all the credentials that go into open to an account are all splattered. It's spaghetti.
Yep.
And I did it that way on purpose.
Yep. Absolutely.
But,
and that's a good way to, if you have to use it for something, oh man, give them spoofy, crazy data and do funky stuff so they can't access you.
Yeah. That way they can't, you know, if you're 58, put down your, you know, you're 28. Then you get ads for people that are 28, even though you're 58, and you won't care.
And that's a good practice. Is we used to realize not to put real stuff on the internet, but what I tell people now is unless it's like something like a government or a bank, dude, these guys don't need your information. Even banks, it's questionable, but since there's so much government overlap, definitely do that with them. But for every other thing, organization, I have a specific age profile, a specific person profile, so it's inconsistent. It's just not me. Okay. Now, of course, it's probably better to confuse the data.
It just ground my teeth yesterday when I went to the doctor's office, and they give you these stupid tablets, and you got to go through the tablet, put your birth date in it, your name, your address, everything about you. The only thing they didn't ask me for was a social security number.
Yeah, because they already have that.
Yeah, they already got that.
Yeah. Quinn, what do you think? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I haven't read the article yet. But one thing I can say is get off of Facebook right now and then deploy open source social network and DigitalOcean. Invite all your friends to that, and then you're fine.
There you go. Yeah, and I'm going to do a video about doing that, about building
open source
social media. Yep.
Open source social network. That's actually what it's called. I know it's a very bad name, but it's a one-click app in DigitalOcean.
Yeah. So Renard says, why are people still using Facebook? Unfortunately, because they believe they have to connect with their family. All right, so we'll go ahead and dive into a little bit about this. So now my title of the video, of course, is we have to talk about this issue of selling data. They technically don't sell data. They license access to your data is technically what they do. So the final companies don't necessarily get a copy of this data. but they have access to use the systems and the tools and the resources for paying Facebook a monthly tool, which of course is the best way to do it, because if it was just a matter of selling the data, it's a one-time sale. But as long as it's not selling the data, it's licensing the data, it's a subscription fee. So Facebook's got this figured out. So, so that's kind of the case there. And so what they did is they found out that over 74% of Facebook users still did not know that their list of traits and interests existed until they were directed to their page part of the study. So in other words, the study went out, and basically it was a study where people had to go in and answer the questionnaires and look at their Facebook profile. And so 74% of them did not know that this page existed, which was basically the advertising profile that Facebook knew about you. So 74%. So do people in your sphere of influence understand the level of the information that they use? What do you guys think about that question? Do you have any idea about that?
I'd say about half of them have some idea of the scope of it, and of those, probably that 51% they quoted is about right for the number that care, but they still use them anyway.
Yep. All right. Benjamin, you have thoughts? How many people in your sphere of influence do you think realize all this?
I don't think many of them do, or they don't care that much.
And of course, we'll address the age-old question next. I got nothing to hide. So we'll address that next. Brian, what are your thoughts? People in your sphere of influence realize.
Yeah, and I have a very mixed bag, because with one of my lives, I'm at a college with a lot of young people, and they're all computer heads because, they're taking computer courses. The other life is mainly elderly people. So I get a very mixed bag. I find my college crowd, most of them know about it. Most of them feel similar to how I feel. I'd imagine quite a few of them are your viewers now. And we talk about it a lot. I bring it up in my Linux classes and so forth. And that's a very well-educated group. And I'd say about half of them have Facebook accounts, about half of them don't. Oddly enough.
But they almost all have Instagram, though, don't they?
Yeah, that they do. I don't have that one either. Yep. I try to tell them that, but they got to have some outlet. Of the 50% that have it, they're maybe not quite as technical. The more technical people seem to not have it. My other crowd, the people I meet in my non-computer life, they're pretty much clueless. They really don't know about it, and if they do, they don't care. Some of them say the infamous "I have nothing to hide" because they don't quite get it. But a lot of them, they don't have it because they don't have a computer. They don't know what a computer is. They don't want to know what a computer is. Yep. That's their bag.
Yeah.
So,
Dan, what do you think?
To build on to what Brian is talking about, my study of people using Facebook, it boils down to these people have too much disposable time on their hands. And this is what they're filling it with. And it doesn't have to be a huge amount. It could be like you're waiting in a hospital for a while for some procedures to be done, or you can be waiting somewhere else, or you could be at home and you're a stay-at-home mom and the kids are all sleeping, and you're looking for something to do, so you're digging around on Facebook and posting stuff with your other friends. I mean, a lot of what I've seen is elderly people that are sick of watching Gunsmoke in the afternoon or Bonanzas, whatever, or soap operas. They'll get on Facebook for a couple hours to break up the day. And this is what I see a lot of in a larger capacity. I don't use Facebook this much. I may be once every 3 or 4 days browse on it, and I'm done.
All right, Quint, how many people in your sphere of influence realize Facebook collects data?
Pretty much everyone in my immediate family, but I don't know about my grandparents.
friends at school? Do people
They
realize?
they have Instagram, but they don't have Facebook.
Yeah. It's not trendy anymore to have Facebook. I mean, everyone's parents are on Facebook. You don't want to be on Facebook. Your parents are there.
They have Instagram and Snapchat, I believe, and they probably have TikTok too. I don't know. They have all sorts of stuff.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Wow.
That's okay.
But I don't really tell them. Most of my friends at school don't have any, only have Discord, really. All the people who have all the social media are people who are not my friends. Yeah, I have Instagram and Discord, but that's it. And I don't even, I think I removed all of my posts on Instagram, and I just removed my last name. It just says Quint with nothing.
There you go.
And all my friends who have Instagram are asking, like, what happened to your Instagram? And they're like, I took it down for privacy.
Yeah. And because, I mean, Facebook is no longer Facebook's cash cow, and so Instagram and WhatsApp are going to be the cash cows we're going to see this year. So, so of course, now moving on to this topic of I have nothing to hide. There is a fabulous new documentary that just came out entitled Nothing to Hide. Very fascinating. You can get it on YouTube. It came across my my listing through Top Doc Films that I have a listing through. So definitely check that out. It's an hour and a half, and it bounces all over the country. So there's some places that's subtitled, but it just does fabulous job. They have people from the Tor Project on there. They have people, NSA whistleblowers, all sorts of people talking about it. And let me see if I can actually find a link to it.
Can I mention something, Tom?
Yeah, go ahead.
I discovered there's a good Instagram alternative. It just started in November. It's called Pixel Fed.
Okay, cool.
I signed up for it the other day.
Well, let us know how it goes.
I'm inclined.
Yeah, I haven't posted anything to it, but it looks exactly like Instagram. And I believe there is, I think pixelfed.org is like the actual website. It's sort of like Mastodon, the actual website where you actually get the code from, and then pixelfed.social is the main instance of it.
Okay, so I dropped the link to that in the chat there. So this is really well done documentary. I watched it this week, and you can go ahead and view that. Definitely worth watching. But it all boils down to, and one of the great analogies that they made is going back to 1984. Most of us forget that it ended with Winston's assimilation. But another thing is, remember that one spot where he would go? That one spot he would go in his house, that one spot the telescreen camera couldn't spot him, was that one corner. They couldn't see what he did, but they knew exactly where he was. And the fact of the matter is, we all have things to hide. We just don't realize we have things to hide until someone comes to take it away. And that's, what are your guys' thoughts on that?
Well, you don't have nothing to hide, but somebody else may have some devious thoughts to come up with something to manipulate what you don't have to hide that you would want hidden that would be damaging to you. It'd be something created by someone else in some cases.
Yeah, anyone else?
Yeah, something that you might not think you have to hide it because you're not thinking the way someone else thinks. They're going to think of a way to use it against you. So in your mind, it's benign. It's nothing to hide until you find out how it can be used against you. Then suddenly you realize how much you have to hide.
And then
we all have a lot to hide. We just don't realize it.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that you might not have anything to hide, but you don't get to decide whether you have anything to hide or not.
Correct. And this is where Snowden gets the idea of the turnkey government. You know, we may not have anything to hide right now. Well, what happens when the government changes or the laws change? Like, and we'll get into this article a little bit further where they talk about political and religious affiliations. And, you know, I am a Christian, and the scary part about all this is our country is so anti-Christian and it's getting worse and worse and worse by each passing day. At what point in time is it going to be illegal for me to practice my faith? And that is a scary sentiment, that if all of these companies know what I am, they know exactly where and how to pick me up. They know, where I go for coffee. They know the route I take to work. They know what time I'm going to be there. And if it's automatically, because of a turnkey government, becomes illegal to practice my faith, they know exactly where to pick me up and haul me off into room 101, and that's kind of the case.
Yeah, I agree with you, Tom. I am also a Christian, and I just hope that never happens.
And it's going to, though. We have to. Absolutely. Go ahead, Benjamin.
I mean, I have this bookshelf full of Bibles and theological books and stuff, and like, what happens when Christianity becomes illegal? Oh, then my Bibles are something to hide in it, then, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah. And for those folks that are interested, I will be addressing the demasculinity of men, responding to the Gillette ad, among other things, on the Christian video tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern. So that's an hour and a half from now. So I'll be addressing those. Anyone else want to chime in on that part?
Well, it's. I think it's going to come down to either they're going to ban Christianity or religion or guns. They're in a running race together.
Or all of them together.
Yes.
Or maleness. Don't forget, they're going to make it illegal to be male.
And notice when they talk about it, they seem to associate them together.
Mm-hmm.
Them gun-toting Bible people,
Yeah, they put everybody into this little bottle, or they put everybody into a type of a box, and if they ban the box, like Tom said, they know just where to pick you up. They know where you're going to be, when you're going to be there. You're a sitting duck, basically. You're an apple in the barrel waiting to be picked up.
Yeah, and that's it. So, take different ways to work here and there, Actually, something Gnome just had. What happens if you use Tor and VPN and fake data on Facebook? Well, they'll still be able to put it together eventually if you keep logging into Facebook on Tor. I guess that's maybe something. I'm not sure we're going to address that particular issue, but if you're doing things like banking stuff or logging into real accounts and things, don't use Tor. That will de-anonymize you, so you got to be careful with that. All right, so next part of this article, it says, when it comes to politics, about half of Facebook users, 51%, are assigned a political affinity by the site. Among those assigned a political affinity, 73% says the platform categorization of their politics is very or somewhat accurate. 27% says it's not very accurate at all. 37% of Facebook users are both assigned political affinity and say that it describes them well. 14% are assigned a category and say it does not represent them accurately. So, in other words, Facebook, just by doing the things that you do, not just on the platform, this is a misconception. Facebook doesn't just gather the data about you from the platform. Facebook gathers the data from the whole web. Because every page that has a like button, every page that has a share button, every page that has a Facebook tracking pixel, every one of those will always be feeding that data in. And if you're logged into Facebook or have logged into Facebook on that computer, it is scraping that stuff up, everything you do on the internet, and putting it into your profile. So the safe way is to have a dedicated computer or at least a dedicated browser to Facebook. And an even safer protocol is block Facebook on your host file except for the very points in time that you need it. That is the way to do it. So that's kind of that. So what do you guys think about Facebook determining your political affinity based upon what you see on the internet?
I wonder if it doesn't lead to a positive feedback loop, whereby you lean slightly one direction or the other, and you get fed more of that, and it puts you further down that path than you might otherwise have taken, because the algorithm decides that you want to see more of it, and so you see more of it.
I mean, like an echo chamber.
Yes,
correct.
I'm
And that's
inclined
what
to believe.
all social media does. Go ahead.
I'm inclined to believe if you have like let's say a political ad and you don't agree with it and you click dislike with it, I believe that data is stored, and it's stored against you, that you don't like the left or the right on that particular thing. It collects that kind of data from you, just from you clicking a like or dislike on any number of given things. I use political for an example.
Yeah, and we'll get into other affinity groups as well. That's kind of the next. Actually, though, Nice Guy 19 asks a very good question. Would you consider it worthwhile to having a LinkedIn profile? I've been told by a former grad student classmate that it's required for my field, but I'm not actually interested in it. Me personally, as soon as I saw Microsoft was even eyeing it, I deleted it and purged it. I won't have anything to do with Microsoft's massive data collection engine. Do you guys know of any fields that would require LinkedIn, or is it seen as a positive in any of your fields?
I had a friend that was coerced into using it because he's in a technology field of actually not just computers, but hardware in general, designing machinery hardware. And for some reason, because I was in his mailing list, I started getting his LinkedIn ads, and it tried to coerce me to join, and I just kept deleting them.
Yeah, I was getting those, and I ended up emailing. I forwarded those on to Abuse at LinkedIn.com and said, I'm not interested in your service, and blacklist my email address. I haven't received anything from them since, so that's a good option. Anybody else comments on LinkedIn?
Well, at least they honored your request.
Well,
some of them won't even honor it anymore.
I think it just means I haven't received one in a couple of weeks since that happened. So.
I made one back in like 2012, I think, or 2011, after I finished Porter and Chester, which is like a trade school here for IT. And I haven't used it in like since I created it. I haven't really used it that much. It's still on there somewhere. There's no data on it.
Yeah.
I haven't logged into it in so long.
Yeah, so Nice Guy, I would just look around at other people, like professionals in the field, and find out if they think it's worthwhile. Many of them might think it is. It's like the business social network, but frankly, it's just as useless as Facebook, in my opinion.
My mom just uses it so she can look up her clients, because she is also a freelancer.
Okay, that's actually not a bad reason to have one, if to look people up and see what the reputation is, I guess. But yeah.
In Facebook's defense, I've had a total of about 6 people from my past reconnect with me.
And that's a valid reason for it, for sure.
People from high school, people from a job I left. I even had a childhood friend that I had long had forgotten about get a hold of me on Facebook. And they come to find out she don't live very far from me either.
Okay, so the next part of this says, the majority of social media users say it would be very or somewhat easy for these platforms to determine their race or ethnicity, hobbies or interests, their political affiliation, or their religious beliefs. I would add like 100% chance if you're in a multi-level marketing network. I mean, a multi-level marketing group where you get all the, hey, use this thing, where they have a special terminology. It's kind of funny, but, because, of course, if you get on at something like this, you are sharing things. You are sharing your beliefs and affiliations and articles and things that you find.
You're sharing your personality as you're going. As time goes on, your personality is getting built into this profile that's your wall, I guess they call it.
Yeah. And so what this ends up getting down to is they collect all this data, they put it together, and they build an ad profile for you. And this is what advertisers, like we said at the beginning, it's a misnomer to say Facebook sells the data. They don't sell it. They license access to it through their network of services, which primarily right now, it could be research stuff as we've seen, but it also means that they're using this data primarily to sell advertising. So someone can come in and say, well, I have a product and I'm going to target it to this person of this political or religious affiliation. You want to target the middle-aged gun owners, and Facebook has that data. And so you can literally go in there and create all those profiles that you want, create that exact setup, and that's kind of the, what they're doing with it. And so For me, my biggest concern is we are already so over-marketed to the last thing we need is for a big mega corporation to give access of our data to another big mega corporation to narrow in, hone in on us, and try and get us to buy their products. Because even if we're strong against the susceptibilities of media advertising, it still is problematic in that we can be worn down. You know, if my goal is to save money and get out of debt and I'm constantly getting ads for things that stimulate me to want to go out and spend money, that could thwart my goal and what would be appropriate for my plan. That's kind of my thoughts. What are your thoughts on the targeted advertising aspect of this?
Yeah, depending on how strong your constitution is, any human being could only handle so much. Everybody's got a breaking point.
Yeah.
And even if you start out strong and say, no, I'm not going to do it, eventually either the person's got to stop selling you or you're going to break down.
Yeah.
And that's why so many salesmen or company reps use this hard sell. You know, they don't want to let you leave until you answer yes or no to buying their product. They don't want to give you the night to think it over. Because they know if you have the night to think it over, you're going to say no. So they push, well, I got to know now. I got to know now.
Yep. So you're leaving room 101 with on their side. The question is, how long does it take to get out of room 101?
Exactly. Exactly. So that's the problem with that. And then the other problem is even if the information starts out for marketing, which is fairly benign, who's to say some point in the future they can't turn around and use it for something else?
Like Google's Selfish Ledger. Go watch Selfish Ledger. You know, their entire internal documents basically says that their ultimate goal is to flip the tables on you so that they make you the slave to what their algorithm wants of you. That's a frightening thing. Quint, anything to add to that one?
Sorry, I haven't been listening. I'm trying to import I set up Nextcloud. I'm trying to import all my passwords into Nextcloud.
Okay. All right. So what we were asking about is how do you feel about them utilizing all this data to target you with advertising?
Yeah, I don't think it's good.
Yeah.
I honestly I use uBlock Organ and a host file to block everything.
That's a good approach. Yeah.
I just don't think I remember I've put Facebook I put little Facebook like things on websites before, and they do track everything.
That's they do.
So, I don't think I just don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah. For me, if advertising was about product education and not about product coercion, I'd be more okay with it. Tell me about what you got. For sure, I might be interested, but don't sit there and pester me ad infinitum. Like, for example, to this day, I will never buy Amsoil. It's not happening because I built a website for somebody. This is actually the thing that got me to stop using Google a while back. Is I did a website for an Amsoil distributor, so I had to log into their Amsoil account to grab a code to put on their website, and then all I saw for the next week or two was Amsoil ads all over the place. I'm like, I'm done. I'm never buying your crap again. You know, not that I've really bought it before, but when it comes time to change my oil, I'm definitely not buying Amsoil for sure. Ben, your thoughts?
I do have a funny story. I was looking for, this was sometime last year. I was looking for a cheap 2 terabyte hard drive for one of the towers over here. And so I, right into Google, I knew what I was doing getting into it. I, Googled, 2 terabyte hard drive, and I start getting emails and banner ads for all kinds of hard drives and that sort of thing. And I eventually found a nice cheap one for it's like $56 from Newegg.
Good.
So, I know that it wasn't in my best interest, but I was looking for something very specific, and I was using that system to bring me the product I was going to buy.
And that's actually a good approach. For me, I wasn't looking to buy oil. I was looking to build a website. That's the difference. So yeah, if I was looking for something, I might do that and let the ads come to me. Come to me, my precious ads, so I can see what to buy. But yeah, Dan, go ahead.
Well, like Brian said, he was looking for a particular item, and the ads happened to help him out to get the item he really wanted. In some cases, advertising can be kind of healthy. Now let's look at the other fact, and we take all advertising everywhere completely away. The TV set, the internet, the computer, the tablets. You wouldn't really know what's out there to even look for to get. You wouldn't even know a car existed unless you seen them on the street driving around.
Mm-hmm.
You would have to do all the legwork to discover everything that's new and advanced.
And that's why I'm not opposed to ads particularly. I'm just opposed to this in-your-face, finely tuning over and over and over pushing of ads on individual people.
That comes to the other point. When I was watching TV more than YouTube around Christmas time, they would keep pushing the same commercials all the time to the point where I'm not ever buying M&Ms again, you know, or something like that, or Hershey Kisses. It would be, you know, something along that lines where every 20 minutes or every 30 minutes you've seen the same commercial to the point where you just don't want nothing to do with it. You're never going to buy that product.
Yep.
So I understand how that works.
Yeah. Brian, anything to add?
Same thing. I mean, there's a lot of products that I won't buy ever again because when you're watching similar things, and this is on YouTube also, if you watch similar videos, you see the same ads over and over again. Just like if you watch one TV network for a few hours, you see the same ad over and over again. And after a while, you just, you get done with it. You're like, I don't want to see that ad anymore.
Yeah, it's like if you buy that thing, you're bringing home the cancer.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah. Benjamin, anything to add?
Well, I'll say this, is that I really do need to get myself off of Facebook. But what I would say is this, is that sometimes I look at eBay and Amazon for products, for like stuff that I need for my tech or whatever. And all of a sudden in my Facebook Messenger, I see that exact same product from Amazon in the Facebook Messenger.
Yep.
And that to me is kind of creepy. I think the targeted ads is going too far. They're digging too deep, and they're going places they shouldn't be going to find that data.
Yeah. So I think like Dan has one of the best approaches. Just, you know, log in every once in a while, use it for the connection, but just don't be so reliant on it. And like, I mean, I'd keep it off of your mobile devices. And again, I'd keep either a dedicated computer or at least a dedicated browser for Facebook, and block it in your host file when you're not using it, because it will follow you around in places you don't realize. So this article summarizes by saying 74% of users did not know about the platform's list of their interests. 59% of them list that as very accurate list, and most of them are not very excited about this. Go ahead, Quinn.
Honestly, I think that's crazy, in my opinion, that the media hasn't been talking about it, and that people aren't educated about it.
I don't know how people cannot be aware of this at this point in time. And I look back in this survey was done in June, so June 2018. So it's about 6-7 months old now.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, after a while, it's like you're not at least suspicious.
Yeah, it's like, just do you live but however, I have to say this, and I'm not sure about what everybody does for their life and their job and things, but man, like, I know people that are so busy, you got to get up too early in the morning, you got to run off to an office, you really can't have media and other things going on, you sit down and do your job, you come home, you're too tired to do much of anything but maybe catch a couple videos, if that. Or some people are just so busy and distracted on other things, they have no concept of what's going on in the entire world around them. You know, me, fortunately, I work from home in this office surrounded by a bake of computers, and as I'm doing all of these things surrounded by a bake of computers, I can always be playing videos. So I know what's going on in the world because I catch it while I'm doing my work. And so it's kind of one of those things that it's a great blessing that I do what I do and my own boss, and I have so much control and flexibility over what and how I can do things. So that's kind of my thoughts there. But I think that's it, is people just heads in the sand. Any thoughts on that? Heads in the sand, people, or?
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, Brian. Go.
Oh, a lot of people do that. Again, you know, I have this dual personality. On half of my work, I do from home, surrounded by a lot of computers. So when I'm home, I know what's going on because I'm there and I'm in touch. When I go out on the road to either see patients or I go up to the college to teach, I'm completely out of touch unless I listen to the car radio. But what I found out is that the so-called news that you listen to that's supposed to give you the news doesn't give you all the news. They kind of give you what they want you to know. What they don't want, right. And what they don't want you to know, they don't tell you. The only way to get a full, unbiased, broad spectrum of what's out there is to have access to a computer where you could control the source and you have unlimited access to the whole web.
And then you risk what Ben said earlier, you fall into the echo chamber.
Right, exactly. And then a lot of my other people that I deal with, you know, they're so out of touch because they're watching soap operas all day or whatever. They just don't watch any news anyway. And a lot of them don't even have TVs, and they're absolutely clueless to what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, it's really funny. I've seen the opposite, too. I used to live across the street from an old man.
Some of that, too.
He was on CNN from the morning, the minute he got up in the morning until he went to bed at night.
Yeah, I think my mother's house, the TV is perpetually on, I'm pretty sure. In fact, when I went there, I visit my mother so seldom because it was kind of a whole dysfunctional family thing. When I went over there for Christmas, I had to sit down for 20 minutes and wait for her because she had to finish her soap operas. Like, really, Mother? I mean, I don't show up here a lot. Would you like, I mean, and you have the thing recorded. Just pause it, turn it off, or Lord forbid, miss the end of Child Hospital. I don't know.
There's only a handful of them left, too.
Yeah.
My grandmother has Fox News on all day.
Yeah, there's some group of old people that got a news channel. They're stuck on it.
Yeah, they either the case. Ben, we cut you off earlier. What do you think, Ben?
Oh, sorry, I blanked. Keep going.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, somebody.
Well, they're sitting there watching that news channel, man. They're just waiting for that volcano to blow. That's their Facebook.
Or the government to get funded. One of the two.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had one patient one time I made house calls on, and she had an absolute cow one time because I got there during The Price is Right. She goes, I don't want you to ever interrupt The Price is Right again.
Gotta watch Wapner. Gotta watch Wapner. Gotta watch Wapner.
Yeah. And other times, even with the news station, if you sit and watch CNN for 12 hours straight, you think you're going to hear a broad, analysis of all the news?
I can't watch any of them for 5 minutes straight. Like, last time I tried to turn on either Fox or CNN, I just wanted to punch the screen and go away. So I don't know how people watch that crap. I just don't get it. It's not fair and balanced, and the other one's not. I don't know.
You know what's sad? I use my computer now more than my TV.
Oh yeah, my
TV
Sunday
gets an hour and a half a day, and that's it.
Mine gets about an hour and a half a week. Literally.
I mean, I get up in the morning and I probably not even watch 15 minutes of local Detroit news just to see who got shot.
Yeah, there you
go. And then I go to work and I come home from work and I really ain't ready to sit in front of the computer. So I watch an hour of a Netflix show when I come home from work. And then I turn the computer on and visit you guys, and I'm here until I go to bed.
Yeah. And it's like in my, when I turn on the TV, I'm watching a movie on my Raspberry Pi or something like that.
We have like 8 TVs here because pretty much every bedroom has a TV. It was the old owners left all the TVs. And so we all have cable boxes for them, and we're all paying for them. I looked at our Xfinity.
Oh, man.
Wow.
It's like $300 a month.
And your parents put up with that, with them not being used?
Yeah.
Wow.
Just send them back.
The thing is,
you need to give them a lesson in economics.
In 2 of the rooms, we have to have them in the guest bedroom so that my grandparents, when they come up, from
They
South
can
Georgia.
blast
They
Fox
can
News. Right?
They can watch news.
Yeah.
How often do they come up?
Maybe about twice a year.
I would call the cable company. I know this works. It did work with DirecTV. You can actually have them boxes suspended. They won't bill you for them until you call them back and tell them to turn them back
I
on.
honestly don't think my parents care enough.
Yeah.
Well, like I had to move out of a house.
Yeah.
And my parents make enough money, so I don't think they care enough about it.
I had to move out of a house for 6 months, and I called DirecTV and told them I wanted to cancel the box there. And they go, "Well, you going to come back to the house and reactivate?" And they told me, "I'll tell you what we do. We can stop your billing for 6 months and suspend your account."
Yeah.
And I found that to be a very nice option. But that's when DirecTV was owned by somebody other than AT&T. Now that the AT&T owns it, it's a whole new horse.
Yeah. Never know.
There's two companies I said I'd never get in bed with or give my money to, and that was Comcast and AT&T. And boy, AT&T just worked their way right into my life.
Yep, they'll do it.
Yeah.
They'll do it indeed. So Facebook.
Yeah, we're getting rid of our Xfinity internet, which I'm so happy about.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a Google Fiber. There's a waiting list. It's like about a month. But yeah, we're on it, and so hopefully we'll get Google Fiber here soon.
There you go. That works. Let us know how it works.
And then I have a whole plan. We're gonna get a Ubiquiti Unify security gateway, which I probably will attach to Pi-hole that will download a block list, and then we're going to put two Unify access points.
Yeah. All right. So
man,
Quint,
I think I'm gonna keep my DSL. That's just too much.
Yeah.
That's too complicated.
No, that's just the extra. But Quint, for those people unaware of Pi-hole, want to explain that a little bit?
It's basically this software that runs on a Raspberry Pi or pretty much any Linux distro now that lets you create a block list of advertisement servers. And I think you can put anything you want on there, but it'll download a host file. And then the cool thing is you can see all the traffic of all the ads that are blocked, like on a month.
Does it display the ads as they're coming in and the addresses to them and let you select which ones to block?
I believe you can choose that. You can whitelist certain ones. So I have it on the screen. I have screenshots on the screen right now.
There's also another one like that called No Track that is made by Quids Up.
Yep.
Back when AVG was not so big, they had a really good firewall for Windows, and it would actually pop up. Like one time I downloaded a bag of worms and malware just to get one program, and when I opened it, the AVG instantly stopped all these from going on the internet and getting all their other brothers and sisters to move in with them. And it asked me, "Do you want this program to actually access the internet?" And it'd give me the actual location where it was triggered from. So I could manually go in and delete all this stuff because it stopped and told me where it was at and asked me if I wanted to allow it to go through.
AVG used to be good.
It ain't anymore.
Okay, so all of my passwords came in, but not my secure notes.
The Pi-hole.
That are in Bitwarden.
Anonymous guy, is there a good alternative to Facebook? I know for Twitter there's Mastodon, but what about Facebook? Is there anything?
It's open source social network.
Yeah, and the thing about open source social network though is that is like a self-hosted thing. So, and I'm going to do a video on that very soon where we can talk about how you can do this and you can all interact with your family and it'll be a private social network just for your family. And if you wanted to let some friends in, you can do that. So that is an option. I don't know of any like big open to the public one though. Is there one? I don't know.
I think there's something called Diaspora.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that like Facebook, I think? Or is that like...
It's supposed to be a Facebook alternative.
One's like Facebook, the other one's like Twitter.
Yeah, Mastodon is Twitter. Diaspora, I think, is the Facebook
Yeah, and then,
alternative.
like I mentioned earlier, there is a new one called Pixel Fed, which is like Instagram.
Not sure when my when the thing on the screen turned into our stats, but at some point in time it turned into the stats. Little bugs from no, not that. Little bugs from working on the thing here. Where'd it go? Where'd it go?
Do you have anything import?
I'm looking for. Let me look at Diaspora. See if that is.
Yeah, I think I just need to convert all of my notes to passwords. Because all my secure notes are like passwords for like root passwords for servers.
It keeps on changing. I don't know why, but it keeps on kicking my WaterFox out and going back to my my stats. All right, there we are. Hopefully we can see it now. I'm not sure how long you guys were looking at stats. We were supposed to be looking at the article there, but like I said, I'm working with a different layout here. So yeah,
I set up.
Apparently this is here, so you can host a pod, get involved, blog. I don't know much about that one, but that's that. All right, go ahead, Quint.
Yeah, I set up Nextcloud on DigitalOcean the other day.
Sweet, very good.
So yeah, I only set it up with 1 gig of RAM, so I'm not planning to do anything like Nextcloud Talk. I just want somewhere where I can back up all my contacts, a few files, and my passwords.
If you want access to my Calibora server, let me know, so you can use.
I didn't set that up either. If I did it, I was going to do only Office instead, but I didn't really want to do that.
Yeah, well, like I'm saying, if you need it just because of something quick, I can give you space on my server. I have a little bit of room left. So.
Do you have to install Calibora on a separate server?
I think you do, but I haven't tested it fully. I would test it now without doing it since you're running on DigitalOcean. I would probably test it on that server first. However, you are going to need a beefier server. It needs at least 2 gigs of RAM to run.
That's why I'm not going to. I don't really need document collaboration. I do that.
I put mine on. I don't necessarily need the collaboration, but it's handy having the online document ability. So I actually built mine out on AWS, and then I just feed into that. So.
Yeah, if I do that, I'm probably going to use only Office instead because I like the UI a bit better, and so it also won't default to German every time you open a new document.
No. That has nothing to do with code. That has to do with Nextcloud. Nextcloud will do this.
It was code.
No, it doesn't have anything to do with code. It has to do with Nextcloud because what happens is there's just like Linux has a templates folder, Nextcloud has a templates folder, and every time you push an update, it overwrites your templates that you have with German documents. So that's actually a Nextcloud thing. That's not a code thing.
Nextcloud is a fork of OwnCloud, right?
Yes. What are my thoughts of Quad 9 DNS? I don't have any thoughts. I don't know what that is. Anyone else want to jump in with anything?
Yeah, I use, speaking of DNS, I use 111 DNS.
1.1.1.1.1.
Yeah, whatever that one is. Yeah, I use that one. Unfortunately, I have to do it manually on all my computers because Comcast doesn't allow you to change the DNS on their routers.
You'll be able to fix that when you get your Pi-hole up.
Or yeah, when I get my Ubiquity router up, I'll change that.
Yeah.
To the Pi-hole.
Yeah. Don't set up Pi-hole unless you know what you're doing. Vlad, this is Quint. He runs Fedora. I mean, leave him alone.
I've had to deal with Kdenlive crashing 5 times, and I still use Fedora.
Switch to Linux.
Only 5 times?
Yes.
God, I had Windows programs crash for a month.
But
3 times a day.
But the thing is, Kdenlive does have an auto recover feature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's worked every time, so it doesn't really bother me.
Yep.
As long as you don't lose the whole film.
Yeah, Audacity has the same thing, which is good every now and again.
I
every now and
almost
again
lost
things
this
crap.
entire 17-minute video that I was working on for school, but I found out it was all right.
Just keep pushing that save button.
Yeah, I still need to render it. I was about to render it, but the stream was about to start, so I decided not to do that.
Yep. All right.
I have yet to have a program crash on Ubuntu Mate.
Really?
Give it time.
Cool.
Give it time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well, I can just write a program for you, Dan, and then send it over to you that will make all your programs crash.
There you go. Yeah,
I don't want to break what's not broken.
Yeah,
Oh,
my Audacity crashes when I'm at least a couple times a session when I'm doing my audiobooks. So they do have a nice auto recovery as well.
Wine is awful with it, depending on what you're doing.
Yeah.
Oh, if you guys are running a light display manager, watch out for the next Flatpak update. It broke my light display manager.
Yeah, I hate Flatpaks. What's up, kitty cat?
Oh, I had
Flatpaks don't bother me as much as snaps.
I think it installed Flatpak as a dependency for another app.
Yeah, that on Mint, that's actually there's a big argument about that on the Mint forums, and it's kind of irritates me as well that Flatpak is like embedded inside of Mint, and it should not be embedded inside of Mint.
I have both Snap and Flatpak installed on the system, and I've never had any issues.
I had an update on it. There was an unexpected token in one of the Flatpak files, and it put my light display manager into like a login loop. Every time I tried to log in,
yeah, I don't use. I believe I use GDN, the GNOME one, because I'm on GNOME right now.
Yeah.
All I have to say is Clonezilla is my friend.
Mm-hmm.
The only the reason I have Flatpak installed is because most GNOME apps are Flatpaks.
Really?
Yes. Like I have to. There's an app, or like remember the podcasts app on 429 is a Flatpak. It's not actually bundled in the repos. And then you make a huge deal about it, and then you realize that it's a Flatpak.
And you don't know how to install it. It's like, dude, really?
You know what? That makes sense because it was GNOME Builder that brought in Flatpaks. I checked the dependency logs.
And then the other thing is I use an app called Authenticator, so I don't have to put all my my two-factor authentication codes on my phone, and that's a Flatpak too.
Wow, everything.
And they're only shipped in a Flatpak.
Total OS Today is in the house. Greetings, Toss. He says Facebook users don't care anymore. Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah,
I don't think they do. I don't think they're
educated. I think there's a lack of education to some degree.
Well, I mean, to a degree, I think you're right because Facebook is popular among the older generation at this point in time, which is very funny for me to say because I remember when it didn't even exist.
Well, it started out as this cozy little thing to discover people and to communicate with people and post funny articles and stuff like that. Now it's mutated into a dangerous monster.
Yeah.
Just like all internet big social media things do.
Yeah, because when it first came out, I made an account, and back when I was 21, this was back like 2010 or so, like way long time ago, and it was because of Facebook that I was actually able to meet my dad. So yeah, I just punched in the name that my mom gave me. I punched it in, and I got a response back from my dad, who I never met until I met him through Facebook. So it does have its purposes. It has its uses, and it can be used for good. It's just too bad that it's not.
Yeah, and that's,
there's like 8. There's like 8 people from my past that just found me on Facebook, or I found them that we lost contact with, just because we moved away or something like that.
Yeah,
I haven't got a childhood friend out of the deal.
Yeah, and those are all valid things. I mean, for me, I mean, you search my name on the internet, you find me, and so, for better or for worse. But
yeah, I've searched your name, and your books come up.
Yeah, see, good. That's
a
exactly
good thing.
What I want to come up. And it'll only get more as I get 2 more books out, and the audiobooks are pushed. So now it's just so many things are getting pushed. Now I just got to get those Amazon sales to actually report correctly because my test sale from my friend didn't I haven't seen that yet. Jeff did a sale. I haven't seen that yet. And so Amazon's kind of stealing my royalties, I'm pretty sure. Kind of exciting.
That's not good.
Well, you know.
Just you should leave a link on Amazon saying go to the Our Walk in Christ store.
Yeah, there you go. You can't, unfortunately. So
well,
I'm a little crazy about that.
Well, I think the big problem with Facebook is the monopoly. Right? If you want to get in touch with people, you have to go onto Facebook because they're third-party social medias, but your friends aren't there.
Yeah, or the fact that if I don't want anything to do with Facebook, there's not a way for me to not have anything to do with it. Because unless I take the radical steps like I do here and block it on the host files, they can track everything about you anyway. They can still, if somebody uploads their contact list and my phone number is in their contact list, Facebook still has information. Then they're going to seek to cross-reference that name and that phone number list with Equihacks, among others, and build a profile without my knowledge or consent. That's a problem.
Yeah.
So those are the things we
No,
don't
and
get fixed.
I've heard apathy like that before, where people will say, "Well, Facebook already has my data, so what's the harm in making my own account instead?"
Yeah, and my answer to that would be no. All right, go ahead, Quinn.
What do you do if you travel? Like if you stay in a hotel, how do you have all your blocks and everything?
Because my mobile computer mirrors the host file that's on my network. So my laptop has all those blocks on the host file.
So
the rest of the computers, it's just on a network level.
You're still okay connecting to hotel Wi-Fi?
I never connect to hotel Wi-Fi. I carry my own wireless spots. So.
Do you just use your phone?
Yeah, I do that. If there's something like I have to connect to it, then if I'm somewhere where there'd be a hotel or whatever else, my VPN is on. And if I have to connect to something else, then I go back into my network with a VPN, which then overrides my host file anyway. So yeah, so I have a VPN that I can access, which will get me into my network and share my internet here as well if I'm traveling. That's kind of what I do.
I need to look into how to do that.
Yeah, I have a couple comprehensive videos on it, actually. A couple years ago. They're getting old. Maybe it's time to redo them, but yeah. And of course, you can always buy a VPN too. So the thing about the host files is the closer you are to the computer, the greater it overrides. So like on my network, my main computers don't, on my network blocks Facebook, but if I need to be working with a client where I have to be using Facebook of some form, I'd simply change the name servers or the DNS, either the 1111 or Google's 9999. And that will actually bypass my network's host file, and I can access Facebook on that computer for as long as the host file is, or the DNS servers are overwritten. So there's a lot of things. You just got to remember where you are in the level and put the things together for the ultimate amount.
Google's DNS.
What's about it?
Yeah, I wouldn't use Google's DNS.
Yeah, well,
I would use 1111.
Yeah, there's times I've used it for testing things. I found 1111 to have a few little issues. And so if I'm getting something that I suspect is internet or whatever related, then I'll jump over to Google's.
It is a lot faster though, I've noticed.
And it's always up.
Yeah, those are always good things. Maybe I should go back to it again. I had some reasons why I jumped off of it, but maybe I should go back to it again.
Thing is, are you sure they're actually selling your data? Because the thing is, it's owned by our Cloudflare is the company who owns it, I believe.
That's a good question, and I don't know if I completely trust Cloudflare. So,
I took my site off of Cloudflare. It wasn't that hard. I just had to write down or screenshot my DNS records, change the name servers, and then add the DNS records back into DigitalOcean. And then I was able to solve all my problems, like the mail client not connecting, and the and not being able to FTP into my website. It was all because of Cloudflare.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Anybody use OpenDNS? I don't. Somebody asked a question about it. I don't use it personally.
I have no idea. I don't think I use it.
Brian or Dan or Ben, any ideas?
Nope, don't use it either.
I know my school used to use it before they got this stupid Securely thing.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, I'd say look at it.
I asked a couple of teachers about it, and they said they all hate it too.
Which? OpenDNS?
The securely thing.
Oh, the securely one?
School.
Yeah.
They all hate it. Even the teachers hate it.
Oh, of course, because they can't get on their favorite websites, you know.
The only person who has access to the actual admin panel is the IT person at school.
Yeah, so he's bypassing. He doesn't care about it because he's bypasses it anyway. You know. Quantum is taking things. Wait, Quantum is talking things beyond my head. Oh, Quint, I guess. Yeah, I guess Quint. Yes, Quint is talking of things above his head. All right. Let's see. So Steve says he's used. I'm guessing that's a reference to OpenDNS, and says it works fine.
Tom, do you use Nextcloud Talk?
Yes. In fact, I'd like to get it tested sometime. Maybe if you have time soon, we can get mine tested again. I haven't tested it since I upgraded my Nextcloud.
I would like to try it, but my server doesn't have enough resources, like I said earlier.
Yeah, I might be able to patch you into mine. We'll test it out on mine, and then we'll see.
Really, all I want to do on Nextcloud is store my contacts, my passwords, and maybe 5 files. And that's all fine with 1 gig of RAM and a 25 gig disk.
Keep viewers updated on if I fully switching from WordPress to Joomla. Yeah, as soon as I finish the first site, you guys will know about it. I'll be putting it all over the place. So yeah. All right, we're going to go ahead and feed the kitty, and I think we'll do a kind of final call for comments, and we'll wrap this one home, and then I'll hang out with you guys off the stream for a little bit.
Unfortunately.
I do have kitty stuff. Oh boy.
No wonder he's barfing everywhere. You know, Tom, when my cat got old, he started doing that a lot too. It started out here and there, and then it got to the point where he's doing it every other day. Yeah.
And so that's kind of what it...
It's kind of a wet, stringy bunch of fuzz from him cleaning himself.
Yeah. So, because he's got so much fur. In fact, it's funny, when I had just the other cat, I never actually changed the furnace filters. When I got him, I had to change them every 3 months. He's so fuzzy. Kitty, what are you doing? He's just like, I'm just gonna lick the mouse pad, man. I'm gonna sit here licking the mouse pad. All right. Those were some weird numbers. What 5 files? Which 5 files? I don't know. Let's see. How long was my host file update? I probably did one a couple months ago. I don't remember. Didn't know this channel had a kitty cam. Yes, HQ. Well, welcome along, HQ. Yes, I start the live streams with a kitty cam. The live streams are generally 6 o'clock on Wednesday, 7 o'clock on Thursday, 9 o'clock on Friday for the news, approximately 12:30-ish p.m. on Saturdays. Those are generally my live streams. Occasionally, I'll do some other ones as well. Kitty should try UFC. He seems big enough, yeah.
When was the last open chat that you did?
Probably, I think it was that weekend of Thanksgiving, I think. I don't do a lot of open chats. I should do another one sometime.
Yeah, just thinking about that.
Yeah, maybe soon. I don't know. All right, Ben, final thoughts.
Facebook has your data. Get off Facebook. Although I will say on the 3rd page of the study that I don't know if the link showed up in the comments for the thing we're all reading, the Pew Internet Research thing. But on page 3, it does list the number of participants and the rules and that sort of thing. So all of that, all the percentages and everything else was on 963 U.S. adults age 18 and older with a Facebook account. So I don't know how, Tom, is that, you've seen more studies probably than I have. Is that a big number or a small number?
That's, considering that Facebook has, 3 billion users worldwide, I'd say that's probably a fairly small number, like percentage of Facebook users. And even in an American study, for a survey, that's probably not too bad. Fairly standard for a survey, but for an actual, to get real analytical, useful data, it's a little small. So yeah. Benjamin, if you're there, give us your final thoughts.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry about cutting out the video like that. I do have a 6
no problem. No problem, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that Facebook is going a little too far with it. It is hard to get out of that ecosystem, but I am trying to. Yeah, I say, if you haven't joined, don't, and block it. It's not too late for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I had 2 questions here before I'll get to Brian next. But Kyrie Holmes, my host file may not work on Windows 10. It may not work on Windows 8. It may not work on Windows 10. I've had mixed luck with it. However, if you change all the 127001 all to zeros, it should work. Don't know why. That's not generally the best way to do a host file, but it does actually work. So you can try that. And what ROM do I use on my phone? I'm using Lineage on my phone. All right. Brian, final thoughts.
Okay, yeah, my final thoughts basically I could sum up in 2 sort of cliches. The first one is Big Brother is watching, and the second one is let the buyer beware. So you just got to be careful because Big Brother is watching.
And let the product beware, because we are the product for social media. Dan, your final thoughts.
With Facebook, if you got to use it very minimally. Don't hit the like button on every little fuzzy thing that makes you feel good. You can skip some of that and don't give Facebook that kind of data. If you need to open a Facebook account or any social media account, don't use your real information, because then they know more about you than you really want. And I'm sure they cross-reference this with other corporate information floating around out there and cut backroom deals to piece together who you really are. So I think we need more education in social media. As far as that goes, I think we got hit with a big data bomb here in the 21st century, where Facebook started out nice, warm, and fuzzy, and everybody jumped on it. And they may have already knew this is our goal. We're going to get people sucked in, and then we're going to suck the data out of them.
Yep.
So
hey, I mean, that's why they made it addictive. Yeah. Quite final thoughts.
It is addictive.
Don't use Facebook. Find an alternative. There are plenty of them out there. And just try to persuade all of your family to get off of it.
Yeah, and for those geeky and techie among us, get yourself a hosting account, set up a open source social network, and invite your family to that to share your family.
It's really easy to do on DigitalOcean. There's a one-click app where you just set it up with some basic information, and then you just go to it. I don't think you even have to log into. I don't think you have to SSH into it. You just log in, create an administrator account, and then you can just set it up and invite people.
Cool. Yeah, very good. So my final thoughts, of course, just be very careful with it. I mean, I'm not saying completely ban Facebook. I'm just saying you have to be very careful about it. Be careful, know what you're getting into, know what the risks are, and be cautious in anything like Facebook, any of these free services. Have a look at the links in the description down below if you want to help learning the channel. If you want to jump onto one of these chats, these are for the supporters, so supporting either on thinklifemedia.com or on Patreon. Anybody that does that, also super chats can buy in as well for a day. So that's what this stream is about. So thanks for coming along, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Night, night.